Hello, I am Robespierre. I was a leader of the National Convention that rose to power after the ousting of King Louis XVI in 1793. My political and philosophical actions were heavily influenced by my hero Rousseau. Even before the revolution, I practiced law in Arras, and although I myself was part of the bourgeoisie, I was a champion of the everyman, opposing the death penalty and slavery. With the backing of the Jacobin clubs, I forged the path to France's revolution by abolishing the monarchy. After my rise to power, I helped to put the king on trial and executed his majesty and other traitors to the state by the guillotine without mercy. More than 17,000 enemies of the revolution in all. This was sometimes referred to as the Reign of Terror. However, my increasing autocracy began to make me unpopular as others began to fear for their lives. A conspiracy was formed to overthrow me. On the 27th of July, 1794, I was arrested. The following day, I and 21 of my closest supporters were executed at the guillotine. But enough of that. I don't want to talk about the downfall. Let me show you my home. The Robespierre family had long been established in Artois, and I was part of a long line of men of the law, often working for the royal and seigneurial system, embedded in the structures of power and privilege and wealth of the artisan society. Please, come to my home here in Versailles, and let me show you around. Ah, Shay, sweet Shay. As you can see from my petit appartement in the south wing of the palace, my tastes reflect the refined aesthetics of my educational upbringing in Paris and my bourgeois station. Here you see a slight move away from the Rococo style to a more Etruscan influence, as the values of the Roman and Greek republics became increasingly glorified. The neoclassical style has an emphasis on straight lines and right angles, as you can see in this armoire, rather than the curves of Rococo. We are in an age of reason and logic, and our interior design should reflect that. The rise of artisans around this time was coupled with the increased international trade during the reign of Louis XIV, and led to more exotic craftsmanship, such as the marquetry, bronze beaded molding, the wallpaper here that you see. These all came with increased artisan influence. Marie Antoinette is often credited with this stylistic influence, but with small pieces of furniture to accommodate the smaller rooms of Versailles. I'm lucky enough to be afforded a second room here in the palace. But before we go upstairs, let me give you a quick look at my little love area. It's my wooing couch. Although I never married, I lived with my sister, and she's always regarded me as quite a ladies' man. And here is the boudoir. It's a reflection of my importance and standing with the king and queen that I have a second floor. There you can see a poster of my hero, Rousseau. And here is my daily reminder of how the third estate is being crushed by the clergy and the crown. But let's return to the courtyard. This is the marble courtyard, a crossing point between the north and south wings of the main chateau of Versailles. Here is where the elite would be guested by the king and queen, who mostly dwelled in the Grand Trianon nearby. Let's take a look at this main chateau. Here we can see evidence of the Hall of Mirrors. Exquisite, isn't it? This hall is the central gallery and the crowning achievement of Louis XIV's architectural revamping of this estate. The hall's 17 mirror-clad arches reflect the 17 arcaded windows that overlook the gardens. Each arch contains 21 mirrors. In the 17th century, mirrors were among the most expensive items to possess. This elegant room served for royal family and court functions such as embassies, births, and marriage celebrations in this room. I myself have had the distinct pleasure of attending a royal ball and dance in this very spot with a lovely madam who will remain nameless. But don't let these lavish surroundings fool you. These have been tough times for the people of France. Economic crisis and the unfair tax system have stretched the people to their breaking point. Rural farmers and peasants, who made up the vast majority of the French people, lived on rented lands that belonged to their wealthy lords. The commoners had to pay their lords significant taxes to have the right to grow crops. The lords were then supposed to turn over part of these taxes to the king, but they often kept the biggest part for themselves. So taxes by the crown went up even further. Exorbitant taxes have made bread and wine, the staples of French life, expensive commodities that the people can hardly afford. We of the Jacobin clubs, along with the dissatisfied masses, wish to redesign our country's political landscape, uprooting centuries-old institutions such as absolute monarchy and the feudal system. Like the American Revolution before it, we are influenced by Enlightenment ideals, particularly the concepts of popular sovereignty and inalienable rights. This here is a drinking establishment where we revolutionaries discuss and debate such issues. It is called the Love a Cup. Now we are back in the royal grounds. New kinds of beverages such as tea, coffee, and cocoa were made available in greater quantities as were alcoholic counterparts. Yes, the First Estate knew how to best exploit France's people. The exorbitant taxes infuriated the popular classes, with intellectuals and laborers calling for such taxes to be abolished. Places just like this beautiful lavender room, infuriated the starving people. But I digress. I'm running out of time for today. Let me take you back to the courtyard. Back to the beautiful gardens, the crowning achievement of Versailles. Well, thank you for your time today. I'm glad I could show you around some of Versailles. I hope you have a lovely time.